Hi, we will take a look at tracing today. So, with tracing, any runs we do on the applications, tools, agents, AI chains would show up here as entry items. For agents and AI chains, every message is a run. So, each of them is a separate row. So, the purpose of tracing is to help us understand exactly what was happening behind the scenes when the agent tool AI chain was working. So we'll just take a look at an example for an agent just to understand how we can read this. So invoice fraud detection, we are looking at an agent that follows the planning orchestration. And in this, we can very clearly see the various prompts sent to the agent to write these plans and evaluations. And we can also see in this actually main call what exactly is happening with the LLM as we send all of this information, including what tool descriptions are sent, how that information is sent to the LLM, and what are the results coming from the LLM from that. This is something that helps us better optimize the solution, better optimize the prompts, and quickly figure out if there's something wrong in the prompt we're writing which is causing certain issues. We can see all the tool calls that are made by the model at any point. You can see how those tool calls are represented here. Some types of inputs and outputs are a little bit harder to read in JSON, so we can always convert them to YML. So, for example, this system prompt is a lot easier to read now. So, once you select that, that particular setting is maintained for this entire, while this screen is visible to us. Another thing to note is we can click on this waterfall icon to better visualize the amount of time taken for various operations as well as what operations were essentially done in parallel. You can see these four were pretty much done in parallel. And once again, the goal here is to take this understanding and better optimize the solutions over time, find where the time is unnecessarily wasted and remove those areas, replace them with something else, and we can end up with a solution that has much lower latency and much lower cost in the end, as well as being robust. Now that was for agents. When we look at tools, so this particular tool, whenever you run a application, you get a tracer, even if you run it in preview mode, even if you run a single step in a tool. This is the exact example we are looking at. This is a single step that was executed in a tool. So that's why there's just one item within HCP funnel here. Uh, we can see all of these different values here. If we were to switch to names in the show variable, we can see that the days and the months, which were actually the inputs to the tool, you see the days and the months, these inputs to the tool, we can see them as both the actual value that was passed on to the LLM call in this case, or see them in variable format. This is a bit more relevant in some other cases, perhaps like this one, where we see this SQL query, and this entire SQL query was generated by an LLM, which becomes obvious once we click on this names tab. Uh, you can copy the trace ID from here in case there's any errors you face. You want to share it within your team, or you want to share it with SimplAI support. This will help you. The details tab gets you some of the information you see here, but others as well if you want to. So yeah, that's about it. This is the core component of tracing. Just one last part. When we look at any of these applications, when we go to run history, okay, let's go to an application that actually has some runs. 242. Let's look at this. So when we look at these, we can actually see the same traces that we are seeing before, but now specifically for this application. So if you're perhaps editing something, you're building a tool, you're in the process of building a tool, and you need to look at traces, you don't need to go to a different screen. You can just click on run history and just have a quick look here itself. uh, Additionally, you also see some very specific common metrics that might be relevant uh, for usage. Of these 7 metrics you see here, these 3 will only show up when there's an LLM call step within your tool, or if it's an agent, because they're only relevant for LLMs. But otherwise, the other ones are visible for all tools and agents once you have a few runs. Once again, the goal with these is to help us understand if there's a need for optimization, where that need for optimization might be, and so on. Right. So yeah, that's about it. I hope this helps you get a better understanding of what the tracing feature does and how you can utilize it. Thank you.